happen. Even at low speed and looking like if you are bleeding internally, you have a broken hip, for example. A broken hip is a life-threatening injury and a very common one amongst dirt bike riders, and it can be a potentially fatal injury fairly quickly. We need our bystander to come along. So here's our bystander, he's out for a ride. Now, a horrible thing for you would be to come across another motorcyclist that's been involved in a crash. But if you ever are, this is a really good thing that you can do. Position your bike in such a way that you are protecting this person. You might not be able to protect them from everything, but you can protect them. There have been instances where people have been very badly hurt but would have survived, and another vehicle has driven over them. And I know of instances like that personally. So what our bystander's done is the best thing. He's positioned his vehicle in such a way that his vehicle can be easily seen. He's now standing near the patient. He doesn't know any first aid, so he doesn't have to try and do anything for this person. And the worst thing in the world, can anybody amongst you tell me what the worst thing you could do for this injured person now? Thank you, that's fabulous. In 19 years as a paramedic, I only took off 2 helmets, and that's mostly because everybody thinks they need to take a helmet off in order to save someone's life. If you're okay, you're better off with the helmet on. And even, it's probably the only time you would need to take the helmet off is if that person is not breathing, not conscious. The ambos that turn up here are going to show you how to do it and how to do it safely. It takes 2 people to get someone's helmet off safely without injuring the neck. Endurance motorcycles have been used in New South Wales now for 16 years, and they are a tremendous advantage in Sydney's busy streets. They're also used in this area at times, and the idea obviously is to get to people quickly. He's conscious. You make sure that he's safe. He's left his lights on. If you ever wondered why emergency vehicles do that, it's predominantly because it tends to attract, you know what it's like if you're driving along and you see a crash, everybody wants to look. And emergency vehicles get hit by the people here is checking that this guy is conscious. If he's conscious, you can ask him what the specific injuries are, where he's hurting, what hurts the most. Quite commonly, you could have a very serious injury and not know, because you might have one particular thing that's hurting, and that's the thing that's bothering you the most. And that's not even an uncommon situation to have where somebody's got a sore finger, and if they've got a broken leg, they don't know about it. So the police have now turned up as well, and again, parked in a position that has protected the scene. Absolutely critical for them to get the information that they need at this time. And this is all about securing a scene and safety. This is not in any way trying to say, right, what can I do to pin this fellow for something that he's done wrong. It's all about trying to ensure that the safety of all the people on the scene is maintained. So the ambulance will be coming in now. Obviously, we've compressed all the time factors here. And if it wasn't a national park, you'd have a significant longer time span. You also would be aware that if you are in a national park and your phone doesn't work when you ring 000, that you can ring 112. Anywhere you can ring 112, even on a phone that's locked. And that will vote to the nearest cell phone or cell tower and get you through to the 000 number.
The problem with 112 numbers is a lot of the emergency services people think that it's going to be a hoax, but quite often they are. You'll notice that with the patient there hasn't been a lot of movement, and the last thing you want to do is get somebody to their feet. If somebody's in the middle of the road, what do you think you would do? If it was just you and the person's lying on the road, are you going to take them off the road, or are you going to protect them with your vehicle? What would you do? You try and protect them. One of the things I always used to look at initially in the situation was I'd look at a plan of escape if I needed it. I'd park a vehicle, a bike, if I had to, in such a way that it did protect the person. But I'd also stay with them, and if it looked like I was going to have to drag them out of the way of a car, I'd have some pathway to do that. And that has happened at times, not a lot. Now, on this particular ambulance, we have a doctor. This doctor is from the Care Fight helicopter that's behind me. If you're very badly injured and you need to get to hospital quickly, you will not go to the nearest hospital. There is a strong likelihood that you will go to a trauma hospital. And that could be St George, it could be Westmead, could be Liverpool. There are quite a few trauma hospitals, but not every hospital can handle a seriously injured patient. Paramedics are well trained in knowing how to isolate or diagnose where and what the serious injuries are. Things like a low blood pressure, a very fast heart rate, a decreased level of consciousness. All of these things can indicate that they need to get to surgery quickly. And quite often a helicopter will do that. There is a PERT trial, injury retrieval trial, currently taking part in New South Wales, and that's the main intention of that. People that have been injured, head injuries, and they get to the hospital very quickly, and the data so far from other parts of the world indicates that they survive a lot better if that happens. A lot of you probably couldn't see getting your helmet off is quite a delicate operation, but it is. It takes two people, and the last thing you ever want to do with a person wearing a helmet to take it off is to flex their head forward. Because if you do have an injured neck and you move that head forward, you can seriously put that person at risk. The board that you can see Bruce holding at the moment is specially designed backboard. There is obviously some movement involved in getting somebody onto one of these, but all it normally requires is that a person is rolled to the side, but they're rolled to the side by quite a few people. Their head is kept in alignment, and then the board is slipped under them. As you can see, even a process that is relatively quick still looks quite slow because you've got to be careful not to make anybody worse. A lot of people are concerned that their leathers are cut off, and they think that ambos are just mean people who like to cut leathers off just for the sake of it. That's not true. They're only cut off if it's absolutely necessary. Well, there was a fellow once that would not stay lying down while his leathers were cut off, and insisted on sitting up and taking his jacket off. You'll notice that onto that backboard there's quite a few straps that have been played on their back. If you've got them strapped securely, you can actually roll them even in the confines of an ambulance and still maintain their head and neck in alignment with the rest of their body. It's quite difficult, but it can be done a little easier. These are the sort of processes that freak most people out because you're out of control. you don't know what's happening